guys, it's the Devil's Talon here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at Mitr0 and his W keying skills in a viewer requested video on how to improve at W keying in Arena. But before I get into this video, guys, if you do enjoy my content or find what I'm telling you helpful, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. Also, if you have any ideas on what you want to see on this channel in regards to competitive Fortnite or educational Fortnite tips, please drop a comment down below what you would like to see, and I'd be more than happy to try and make that video for you. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, on the screen, you can see that we have Mitr0's POV. Now, what I'm going to be doing is going over this insane 25 kill game, and then at the end, after analyzing all of the kills from this game, I'm going to be talking about some tips and tricks that you can use in your own games to help improve your W keying based on what I saw and what I've already seen from other pros and just my own personal experience. So, let's just jump right in. We're landing start. So obviously a great place to land for W keying. Where you land will also impact your W keying ability, so it is important to start one of the best, especially landing on that henchman chest, because you can get a spaz out of it, you get purple weapons and heals, and as you can see off spawn he's doing very well already. He's got a big, he's got chugs, he's got a purple weapon and ARs, and you're going to see Mitr0's ability to just absolutely laser people, really good aim. Mitr0 relies on his aim a ton, as well as really good mechanics, but his aim is always the most impressive to me when I watch Mitr0. And nothing to say here that's just too crazy, just really good aim. 4 kills with 2 assault rifles. And everything's a little bit crazy and hectic, but he's off to a very good start. Other person shockwaves up. He realizes that's not his wall. He backs out and goes up for height with little mats. Doesn't commit to the angle. I like that right there. I like him just kind of playing a little bit slow with him not being as healthy as he probably would like. He does remember to take the splash. But the one thing that is good about the charge, it kind of can slow your opponent's pace down because they don't want to get absolutely cracked. Can't talk. Wants to get absolutely cracked with you holding that charge. Good right hand peek. He jumped down to a right hand peek. Notices the wall's weak. Takes the wall and immediately gets a nice little crack. A free 50 pot. Now this kill right here is super Mitr0-esque, excellent crosshair placement and pre-fire read, and boom, absolutely one tap. GG, 6 kills, off to a good start. He's going to continue to key. He's now got a little bit of materials. Notice no double swing there, baiting the shot. Very technical W keying technique. Always making sure that most of the time that you're spraying once, and then look at that insane aim, hitting every single bullet with the AUG, and his reward is a nice purple spaz. And we're off to an 8 kill off spawn start. Now you're going to see sometimes you run into these what we'd like to call flopper players, and this man's is taking a med kit right in front of Mitr0, and he just gets peanut butter peaked and one pumped. So unfortunate. So Mitr0 goes and gets the card. We're at 9 kills now off spawn, and we still haven't left. And then a very interesting arch edit. You're going to see him do this a couple times when his opponent does what? Double swings and gets into big amounts of trouble. Now again, in terms of regard to W keying, why you want to maybe land here, look at all this extra shield that you're going to take with you and allow you to W key more efficiently because you have all of this extra loot. And again, with the chest spawn, it's always great to land at a place that gives you advantage. And at the end, again, I'm going to be going in places that are going to give you advantage. 2 of them should be obvious, but I'm going to talk about another one. And so beautiful arch end into 200 pump, just Mitr0 type aim and mechanics. I like the arch edit. It's very open. It probably catches a lot of people off guard. You don't see it too often. Nice 75 crack as well with 1 AR tag. He tries to do back in the old Fortnite where there's a double swing where he shockwave down and got a kill. But nice little cone right here to make everything even more scuffed for this player, and he just finishes. Notices this kid in the water. Now I'm going to talk about something else that he does after he gets this kill. It's not something that he does, just something that he uses. We've seen a lot of players when they're W keying and using their mobility use like bouncers, crash pads. Mitr0 uses one introduced recently in chapter 2. I love that jump back right there to a right hand peek, safe, and then he does something very common. This is flip up the cone into a Mitr0 classic, a move that he did invent, but it's kind of a little bit varied. I see Reet do this a ton, one of my favorite players. And notice he gets these chilies. He has a ton of chilies. They're excellent for movement in late game rotations, but they're also great for W King. However, it is a little bit, I guess, awkward sometimes because of the added speed boost. If you're not used to it, you can kind of mess up your builds a bit. And we see Mitr0 do this a little bit here. But good awareness right there from Mitr0. He's like, okay, my opponent's going to crank. He's not even going to pressure me. I'm just going to sit here, get my heals off. No problem. I'm going to come down and chop you down, bring you to the fight. Opponent does have good awareness of this and crash pads off. But again, due to the chili, he could just literally continue to key. Chilies are excellent for W King because it makes the pace feel so much faster. And then you're going to see another beautiful crosshair placement as well as pre-fire. He has the crosshair right on his opponent's forehead and gets a 153 or 143 crack. Oh, really good cone and wall right there. Block off. Then he boxes his opponent like a fish and then edits him. Easy. Nothing to say right there. Aided by the chili. Eats the chili. Continue to rotate in. He sees this opponent. And notice he could just get up so fast. Gets a nice 88 crack. Love and spray through. Now, some things he could have done there to end that fight a little bit faster. He could have sprayed through, held the wall, then went for the police control instead of switching to the weapon. And then that would have established that a little bit faster, but his opponent shocked no matter. And good awareness realized that was on one build. He knocks him down and then just shoots him. His opponent has no idea. A good 70 tag. Pre-fight damage. Again, another huge part of keying. Boom. Gets in. Crack. This guy is absolutely one tap. And that's an insane cone right there. Gets his opponent, unfortunately, didn't have the scar reloaded. I like the reload management right there. And notice how he gets in a situation is like, oh, I don't have anything off. Let me go into a right-hand peek. That's exactly what he does. So he drops down. Notice how he baits with a pickaxe. He's never double swinging. And then he just, again, crosshair placement, 1 crack 100. So good. Understanding that. Now this is where things get a little bit scuffed. Excellent job of then editing through with the blueprints right there. His opponent actually makes 2 great plays, and Mitr0 misses 2 pumps and was actually 11 HP. A little bit of a mistake on the shots there. Unfortunately, that his opponent got caught inside the cone. Because if he didn't, that's an easy right-hand peek, easy dub for Mitr0. And then catches the kid looking like a flopper as he's rotating in. Then you get to see another one. Spray through gets the wall, 66 crack. And his opponent is going to just crank. And somehow still not box up when he cranks. And Mitr0's like, screw this, I'm just going to bounce pad up to you. And then his opponent puts under his stairs, and he's just so lost. He gets a nice little 200 pump. Again, same thing. Noses his opponent's there. Notice how he never double swings. I like using the shotgun to take the wall. Huge crack. He did get some damage back. His opponent crash pads away. And the fight kind of resets, but he continues to key. Notice how he's never double swinging. As soon as I say that, he actually does double swing, but he doesn't get it. Blocks off his opponent, and the fight kind of drags on. This is one of the fights that kind of dragged on a little bit. So this is something that you usually don't want with keying, but, you know, there's going to be some players that are actually at least decent at getting away and getting heals off. Now his opponent's in a scuff situation. Notice how much more cautious he's being, not double swinging, and then a nice little clicks peek and 220 to the forehead. He's low health, right hand peek. He does get absolutely cracked because he was just a little too far back. Good job by his opponent. But you're going to see how Mitr0 plays this engagement a lot more safe than before. Notice that crosshair just always on his opponent no matter waiting for an edit. Another pre-fire. Due to the fact that he's not as healthy. And then another pre-fire, recognizing again crosshair on his opponent waiting for the edit. Notice not a double swing again. Just kind of biding his time. Making sure he doesn't get cracked. Always ready. Gets a couple tags. And this endgame's a little bit, I wouldn't say, it's not played great. Because he probably needs to worry about rotating with kids ahead. If he had maybe fought better players that were up front, they could have fried him. Especially in this situation where he's getting hugged by zone. And look how weak he is. He's only at 57 HP. Gets a little bit of a crack. Not even worry about taking hills. Gets a beautiful job. And then realizes that the wall's weak. His opponent takes a flopper. And he gets a nice little free 50 pot. Gets absolutely fried. Again, still trying to get into that same zone. Takes the flopper. He eventually does get his heals off. Is only 2 other opponents remaining, and he wins this bloom battle. And unfortunately, his kill is going to get stolen. We do not see it, but as you notice, it is now a 1v1, and he's going for 25 kills. Gets up a little bit. I like this little peek right here. It's a nice little right hand peek, huge crack. And then attempted a pre-fire. I like it as well. Good again, another great angle reading his opponent. He drops down. Tfue Classics, back from the old days. 25 kills for Mitr0. Absolutely great stuff. So some things that I would like to talk about in this video, particularly when you're trying to improve at W keying, you need to land at probably one of 3 POIs. Now that is going to be Doom's Domain, again, because you want to establish advantage over your opponents. You want to be landing at places where you're going to have a significant advantage. Now, there's 3 places where you can have a significant advantage. You can go to Stark Industries, you could go to Doom's Domain, and you go to Slurpy Swamps. Now, Slurpy Swamps isn't mythic, and I'm going to explain why you need to be landing there if you want to key and all sorts of, or any of these places. So, obviously, Stark, with 1 getting the vault, it's pretty obvious, as well as you got that henchman chest that can sometimes span a purple shotgun or a gold shotgun, and you're going to have a high density of players, most of which may be shambles, and you get that one game where you get a huge amount of picks. You're getting mats, you're going to be at advantage around people around you, especially if you get that henchman chest. Stark is just a great place to have a high density of players, most of which will probably not be healthy, not high on materials or high on shield, and it'll be easier eliminations. Now, Doom's Domain, again, same type of deal. You're going to have a little bit more because the POI is a little bit more spread out in houses that people are more familiar with. The fighting isn't as awkward. Doom's Domain reminds me more of Tilted Towers in terms of fighting in buildings, as well as Pleasant back in the day is more Doom's Domain, where it's fighting in houses and in the middle with the vault. And again, the vault is you're going to have all this loot and all this advantage to your opponents. So when you're keying, you're going to have those heals. Because of the chest rate spawn, this is more important than ever, because every time that you land in a house, you may not get that shield, you may not get all the extra heals and things that you need to succeed, your movement, whatever that is going to be used. And again, so why am I advising you to land at Slurpy? Well, Slurpy may not provide you with a loot advantage, but again, it is going to provide you with a shield advantage. If you're landing at Slurpy Swamps, any shield that you get from chest or floor, you do not have to take because you're surrounded by infinite shield. You always want to grant yourself an advantage, and having heals while you're W keying is absolutely crucial, because sometimes you're going to have fights where you trade and get cracked, and if you don't have heals, it's going to be much harder to continue W keying. You might be fighting a good player and need to get heals off in the middle of a fight. You want to have loot advantage, you want to have material advantage, and you want to have health and resource advantages, utility advantages, movement advantages. Movement and stuff is RNG, so why not land at one of these 3 POIs, which are going to minimize this RNG. You're going to have shield and great loot if you land at the mythic places, and you're going to have a high amount and a high density amount of people to kill. If you're wanting to W key, this is exactly, or if you're not super confident yet in your W keying abilities and you want to make it easier on yourself to work on W keying, maybe more in mid game and end game as opposed to early game where things maybe just be a little chaotic. If you want to get up and establish, I would recommend landing at Slurpy, getting slurp barrels, and that way you have all of your extra shield and heals for when you fight opponents as you're keying throughout the match. Now, in regards to technique in terms of W keying, one great tip that I see from Mitr0, and again, it's his pre-fires, but notice most of the time he does not double swing. I've been talking about double swinging forever. Double swing sometimes gets you in trouble. A good opponent will recognize that you're double swinging and crack. You see Mitr0 do that to multiple opponents on those arch edits. Notice as they double swing, on the second swing, he cracked 1 for 150, 1 pump, and 1 for 200, another 1 pump. And good opponents are going to recognize that. Notice how Mitr0 most of the time would kind of bait the pickaxe swing or swing it once to get the wall 1 tap. There would be times where he sprays through. Spraying through is pretty much the better option, or shotgunning through when the wall gets reset by the opponent to take it. 1, it's a little bit more safer because you have your weapon out, and 2, it's just going to apply pressure. It's much more annoying someone spraying through your wall with a scar, because again, if they don't decide to hold, damage can get through and hurt them, as opposed to a pickaxe. Pickaxing the wall can be good, and you have to usually take it at right hand peak angles. There's some specific techniques you see Arkham do a lot. He will put a wall and a ramp and then crouch on the ramp and hit the wall to his right where he's at a right-hand peak, and it's difficult for your opponent. Your opponent has to hit a pretty nuts peanut butter peak where he's at the top right, and usually Arkham's going to win that peak because it's going to be a very easy right-hand peak as opposed to the opponent having to make an edit and jump into a peanut butter peak. So there's certain techniques you always want to usually stay left to the wall when you're W keying and minimize your double swinging when your techniques. So in summation, if you want to get better at W keying, land at one of those 3 POIs that's going to grant you either loot advantage or shield advantage. And I would also recommend understanding W keying techniques, making sure that you are taking walls safely when you are with a pickaxe, not double swinging, and using techniques where you're staying to the left, allowing you to have a right hand peek when you're pushing into people's boxes. And obviously a tenet of W keying, the last and third, I didn't talk about it too much, but abusing mobility items. So again, that's going to be crash pads, bouncers, shockwaves, chilies. No longer Silver Surfer is not in the game, but anything, cars even, can sometimes allow you to just W key and get more kills. Just make sure you're using movement items if W keying is truly what you want to improve on, because the more movement you have, the more fights you can get in, and as well as most of the versatility of these items can end fights fast. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy. If you did, please drop a like on this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on post notifications. And I hope that I'll be seeing you in the next one. Peace.